Welcome to this mindful flow yoga practice. Thank you for joining in. Let's take a little time just to really settle ourselves in the space that we've created today. So perhaps you can minimize any kind of distraction that may pull you from the practice. You could turn down the phone or unplug if you will. And let's settle in. So we're going to start seated. And if you want any extra props, you can use a cushion underneath your sitting bones. That helps to tilt your pelvis forward, just to take some pressure out of your low back. Anything that makes you comfortable seated for a few moments. So we'll take a little time just to feel the sitting bones widen and drop into the earth beneath us. And just take a few moments to feel the quality of the breath within your body today. How it's moving. You don't have to fix or change it in any way. Just increase your level of awareness. Often I can really feel where there's lack of breath inside my body. And that's my body getting my attention. And as you sit, just ensure that you can feel this height through the midline of you. So when we collapse or round within form, we block the energy centers within the body and you minimize the capacity of breath within your lungs. We want to really support the organs in the body so we can maximize their function. So as tall as you can, let your shoulders drop. Feel a broadening out across your collarbones. Maybe even soften the throat, allowing any unspoken words or emotion just to be released through an open mouth, through a deep sigh. You have time. And feel your upper and your lower jaw part. And right at the root of your tongue, feel it unwind and become quiet. And in that, this soft lift in the palate of the mouth. And creating ease behind the backs of your eyes. A sense of ease in the lobes of the brain. Almost like they can float. I often envision at the base of my skull, I have these fish gills. Anytime I feel the pressure build up, busyness of mind, I imagine the ventilation at the base of the skull through those fish gills. Just feel yourself drop deeper into breath and bones, then ground. And feel your inner frequency to settle to a state of calm. And feel your whole body soften. Your receptivity increasing. Just a few more breaths here like this. Just a reminder as you practice that this practice is about you, and my suggestions and movements are a form of invitation, and your body is the wise teacher. So pay attention and don't be shy to move at your own pace and in your own rhythm. So let's take a few moments just to rearrange that seated posture. So we'll just change the feet. If you can remember which one was on top, we'll change them. Just bring your hands to your knees and let's do a little bit of circling. Just out and around. I like this as just kind of checking in with the basin of the pelvis into the low back. And As you do this, I just want you to go slow enough that you can lean in and kind of feel where there's cobwebs, where the tissue is sticky, where the flow may be a little jagged, and just as a level of awareness. We'll go the other way. So always try to remember that our bodies are comprised of around 70% water. And as we go through life and we get hardened by our experiences, we forget how fluid we are. So a huge part of my practice is just coming back to that fluidity. It's about remembering. Just wave through your spine, a little side to side. And then take a moment just to feel where the midline of you is. Let's place the soles of the feet together. And just take your hands. So you can do two things. You can keep your hands at the fronts of your ankles if you're feeling like your hips are a little tight. If you want to go a bit further, you scoop your hands up underneath your ankles. And then I want you to breathe in and get as tall as possible. So you're pulling the vertebrae within your spine to maximum length. This is one of my favorite examples of dynamic opposition. So the shoulders are dropping down, being pulled down into gravity, and the base of the skull is lifting up and away. And that creates this great pressure in the tops of the shoulders that we can breathe through. And feel the collarbones widen, almost like the coastlines. The throat becomes clear. These little tight blood vessels in the shoulders receiving a greater amount of oxygen. The lobes of the brain just float upwards. And then we just soften and we'll release. Go ahead and kick your legs straight forward and just rock a little side to side on your sitting bones. So I like to rock to get the sitting bones to really widen out to the sides, and that allows your sacrum to widen. And then I'm going to get you to do the same kind of circling this way, out and around. You can touch down into your hands and scoop forward, back, and around again. Then we just go in the opposite direction. So I'm going to bring us back down to the earth for a little sequence there. So you can come down onto your back. Just take your time as you come down. Let's just take a moment with one hand on our chest and one hand on our belly just to feel the shift and to feel how the ground rises up to meet your bones. Take a few deep breaths to really give your whole body weight over to the ground. Feel the breath in the belly and also in the chest. In the backs of your eyes, breathe. Just feeling your body in the pause. Let's go ahead and float the arms open out to the sides and just gather your knees up and towards your chest. And then pull your hands around your knees and let yourself rock a little side to side. So as you drift back and forth like this, you're starting to hydrate the tissue. And I love this rocking over the sacrum, over the kidneys, the adrenal glands, which for most of us in the West are overworking. So we give them a little bit of a break. Also, rock across your skull. And then we're going to kick the left leg straight down the mat. If your low back is tender, you can just keep that foot on the ground. But try extending the leg and feel how it extends through the spine entirely. And then let's pick up that rocking again. And I'm going to dare you to rock completely over to each side. So there's this tumble quality, this spilling out. So I want you to really be able to maximize the simplicity of the movement. And we come back to center, float the arms open out to the sides, pull that left knee back in, and then change sides. Extend through that right leg. Let's feel that squishiness in the groin. Rocking. So just allowing yourself to create a quieter pace and perhaps a gentler rhythm than you would normally carry on with. So the movement is slow, and there's that quality of mindfulness in the slow movement so that we can really absorb the details. And then we'll just land back to center, bring that right knee back in, just pause, nice big deep breath into the backs of your kidneys, your low back. And then drop your knees. Let's just take a moment to feel where we are in space within our bodies now. And let's float the arms open out to the sides. Go ahead and draw your knees in towards your chest. So we'll take a deep breath in with the knees to center, and as you exhale, drop your knees all the way to the left. So this is what we call a little boat twist. And really the most important part is that your feet actually drop to the ground. We don't want you to be hovering up here. If you do, the low back is jamming and it's really holding on. So let the feet drop. And then let your practice be about the breath just combing down the side of the body and letting some of that tension unhinge in your low back. I often do a little wiggle and a shuffle of the opposite shoulder so that I can feel the broadening across the chest. Head and eyes turns opposite of the knees to facilitate that twist in the spine. So in little boat twist, we can really start to feel how the diaphragm in the belly plays a huge role in twisting. So it's not actually the sacrum that does the twisting, but it's this midline part of the body. So imagine trying to get the back of this right rib cage reaching towards the earth. It doesn't have to get there, but imagine it's going in that direction. At the same time, we're extending from tailbone to the crown of the head. And to check in with hips, I like to do this little clamshell movement. So you can drop your right foot to the ground and just open that right knee. So it's just like a little hinge. And then bring it back down. I like to turn my head when I do that. And take it back up. Back down. Maybe move it up a little bit, just feeling into your low back a little bit deeper. Then back open. Let's sweep the arms up overhead. Let's take right hand and hold the left wrist. You don't have to go very far. Just feel the inner groin of that left side, the left side of the body opening. And we just float the arms back down to the sides. Bring that left knee back up and realign yourself back to center. Maybe a little rocking side to side to just feel the balance in the pelvis. And then we're going to drop our knees to the right and our head and eyes to the left. So what's really important in the little boat twist is that we give ourselves time. I like to always imagine we want to go with the flow of the river. So I'm not trying to force or push myself into any kind of architecture. I'm just checking in with the quality of my own tissues and how they are today. And I might wiggle and adjust to kind of find the right alignment. I want you to feel this left hip really lengthening down away from your left rib cage. And that should give you this nice extension through your side waist and your low back. Let your head and eyes drift a little deeper to the left. And then let's go ahead and start that clamshell movement. And my challenge to you is to let this be as simple as possible. Opening and closing. Then we'll keep that knee pointing up. Let's sweep the arms up overhead. Left hand holds the right wrist, and we get a little arc happening in the body. One of the ways I like to create more movement in this is to push my pelvis in the opposite direction of my arms, and then let it drop back down. So it kind of like sinks back into the sand, so to speak. And then I press the foot down and push the pelvis forward. So just something you can add to the exploration process. Good, and then we'll float the arms back down, bring that knee back up. Take a moment just to realign yourself on the mat, feet to the earth. Feel the pelvis settle against the ground. Let's check in with our neck. So we'll interlace the fingers behind the back of the head. I like to create this little hammock. So you draw your elbows in, then you lift your head. So I'm also pressing the head back into my hands to just curl through the thoracic spine. Maybe I look a little to the right, and a little to the left. And then you lower back down again. Just pause. So one of my favorite things, especially when I feel busy in my mind or like I've been going and doing a lot of forward movement, a lot of propulsion, is to just get on the ground and let my limbs float. So I want you to take your legs into the sky, and I know your hamstrings are going to be tight, mine are. And then I want you to take your arms up. But I don't want you to lift your shoulders off the floor. I want them to drop into gravity. And I want you just to shake your legs and your arms. I dare you to just not care about it. Just shake, get the synovial fluid moving, shake everything out, maybe circle. How about moving your legs a little bit? Just feel your arms and your legs in gravity. Good, and then just pull your knees back in towards your chest. Let's drop the left foot, but take the right leg into the sky. So you can interlace your fingers behind the back of your knee. Alternatively, if you have something close by like a yoga belt, or I've used a karate belt in the past, or a scarf makes a good belt, you can wrap it around the sole of your foot. But for today, I'm just going to use my own hands so that you can access this with very minimal props. So you interlace fingers behind the back of the knee, and please know your knee never has to straighten. In fact, we want a little bit of a micro bend so that we're not in strain. Feel your shoulders drop down, and just start lengthening your heel towards the sky. And that doesn't mean straighten your leg. It just means imagine your hamstring is like an elastic band. You want to be pulling those two ends of the elastic band into appropriate extension, okay? Just feel the lobes of the brain ventilate. Point the toes towards the sky, but do so slowly. That tissue on the top of the foot is quite thin, so cautious. Good. And then let's release. Place your right ankle on your left thigh. And I want you to really maximize this angle by pressing your knee away from your hip. So you can see that little articulation, the pressing away from the hip, right foot flexes, and then rock a little side to side. Just feel into the angle of the architecture and what that's doing for your body. So one of my favorite things is just to explore the range of my motion in moderately simple structures, right? So this rocking, you kind of feel what's happening in your hip and in your thigh. And then come back to neutral with your legs. Float your arms into the sky. Wrap your left elbow around your right elbow for eagle arms. So you wrap in and squeeze tight. You want to feel your shoulder blades widen out to the sides. Elbows down, but the crown of the head extending up. So we get this great pressure and squeeze at the lymph glands, at the armpits. So let your breath help to maximize that flow. And if you want to go further, hug your knees up in towards your chest. That might be as far as you want to go. You can also lift your head, unravel your arms to hold on to the back of your left thigh. And then I like to lower my neck back down so it's not in strain. So I would say that this version would be the deepest. An alternate version for you could be just holding the foot and the knee in place. That's a little bit less intense. So play around with what your edge is. I also like to add a little bit of rocking. So one little thing to watch for, I just corrected it in my own body, is to not let your chin jut up and your neck collapse. So I like to kind of keep floating the chin back to my throat. Keep pressing the back of the thigh into the hands to pull down through the shoulders. The side channels of your neck are nice and clear and long. And then let's release. Shake everything out again. And pause. Bring everything back to the ground. And just take a couple of deep breaths in the space between. As we begin to ebb and flow and shift and change, it's important for us to steep a little bit to notice the resonance of that. And then let's float the left leg into the sky. So we'll interlace the fingers behind the back of the knee. To go a little bit deeper, you can slink your right leg straight down the mat, and that takes you a little bit deeper into that hamstring stretch. Make sure when you stretch your hamstrings that your jaw is not locked and tight. Like, it's easy to do that. So keep it relaxed. Keep extending the heel away from the back of your knee. And then we slowly point the toes up into the sky, stretching through that thin, soft tissue in the top of the foot. Can be easy to cramp there, so that's why I like to do it slow. And then let's bring that foot back down, both of your feet to the earth. Let's place the left ankle on the right thigh. Just start with the angle. Feel the knee press away, so you create a little bit more of a right angle perhaps. Foot flexes, pull the toes apart. Then you can rock your hips a little side to side. So for me, movement is like poetry. If I can find ways to move in my body that feels sweet and kind and curious, my tissues respond. And I know that when I move with force and without connection, then my body has a hard time trying to figure out what it is I'm trying to accomplish. So see if you can create this really sweet inner dialogue with your body and your movement pathways. Then we come back to center, take your arms into the sky, take your right elbow underneath your left and wrap your forearms. So your palms may not connect, but see if you can get a connection at your elbows and your forearms. Squeeze tight to broaden your shoulder blades, and your shoulders are still gliding down. And let's see about drawing the knees up so we increase the intensity in that left hip. And then perhaps we lift the head up, unraveling the arms to hold on to the back of the right thigh. Then let your head slowly drift back to the earth. If you're feeling that your jaw is quite tight, you can take the tip of your tongue and just place it behind your front teeth. And that will allow you to relax your jaw a little more. Keep your energy inside. So again, alternatively, you can hold the foot, right? Let's release, shake everything out, get a good rant going. Okay. So now I want you to really have your sense of humor along with you for this. Take the soles of your feet together. Reach for what you can. It may be your ankles, it may be the outer edges of your feet. Just reach for what you can. Let the head drop back to the earth. So press your feet or your ankles into your hands to feel the shoulders pull down and to increase the energy and extension in your pelvis and your inner groins. Now take your right leg out to the right, and you may have to abandon holding your foot's totally fine, and you might even rock right over. This is that fun tipping part. And then pull yourself back in and try the other side. Tipping. Pulling back in. Let's do one more each side. I dare you to tip, to completely collapse and fall. And do you give yourself permission in life to just let it all unravel? And then we come back to center, drop the feet back down, and then pause again. Let's do one hand on belly, one hand on heart. Let's just check in to see what's shifting, what's here for us now as we evolve into the practice. Let's drop our hands. So one last thing here before we shift up off the ground. I'd like you to widen your feet so they're mat distance apart. And let's windshield wiper the knees towards the right. And I want you to do this slow so that you can hug this left thigh muscle onto the bone and feel the front of the pelvis really extend. Float back to center, drift the knees towards the left, lengthen through that right leg. Back to center, one more to the right. Take your head and eyes opposite your knees to facilitate the twist. Brilliant. Let's walk the feet back together again. Go ahead and roll onto your side. Let's say right side. And I want you to peel yourself up. But as you do that, I want it to still be a part of your practice. So I want you to stay very close to yourself as you come up. I like to imagine I'm in mud or in honey. And then we just take our time to reorient ourselves to where we are in the room, where we are in our bodies, the new architecture within. So we'll just come to cross legs for a moment and find our way into this new posture. So I want to build on that, swishing the knees side to side. So go ahead and take your feet wide. So they're along either side of your mat. We want them to be fairly wide. So we're going to windshield wiper the knees towards the left, really extending through the right quad and maybe lifting the diaphragm up. And then over to the right, lengthening, pressing. Now as you go to the left, you're going to lean into your left hand and sweep this right arm around. You're like a wave traveling to the shore. Keep reaching all the way around towards the back of your body and push your right hand away, rounding into your back. And sweep back through center, all the way around. Drop your right hand, swivel over to the right. Reach. Press that left hand away, tuck the ribs in, push back, and float back around to center. Take a moment to just kick your legs straight forward. Let's rock again a little side to side like we did in the beginning. Feel your sitting bones get wide. And feel the pull back of the sitting bones away from the backs of your knees. I'd love for you to come towards the top of your mat so you have room to extend a leg back behind you. And I'd like you to just sit cross-legged in any way that you can. We call Janu Sirsha, or Sukhasana, so easy pose. So in this position, my right leg is pretty much aligned in how I want to go to the next posture, but I want us to explore this kind of creative pathway to get in and out of it. So all you're going to do is lean into your right hand. So I'm leaning into right hand, lifting up my left knee. Then I'm going to fish that left leg back behind me. So I'm kind of moving towards a pigeon pose. Now I'm going to start to walk my hands back around towards center. And as I do that, I might wave through my spine. So you can adjust this if you're experiencing pressure in your right knee by moving the knee more midline to your mat, okay? If you want to go a little bit deeper, the foot goes up a little bit higher. I like this wave-like motion. It reminds me that I'm not stuck, that I am malleable, that my tension is not a fixed state. It gives me the room to kind of wiggle my way through. So just explore that a little bit. See if you can still stay fluid in your spine, even at the height of intensity in that right side. Good. Then we're going to wander the hands back in, and you just have to kind of lean over to your right side again. So you lean into your right hand, you pull that left leg all the way back around, tuck the left foot closest to your body and draw your right knee up. So right knee towards your chest. And it's very easy to kind of fall back here. So I want you to roll a little more towards the fronts of your sitting bones. See if your chest can get tall. Reach for the ball of your right foot. We can always adjust this. And see about taking the right leg up. So if you get here and panic ensues, just take the hand to the back of the thigh, calf rather. Press up through the ball of your foot and lift up through your diaphragm. And I like to rock a little bit forward into my sitting bones so that I'm not dumping into my low back. So a little bit of rocking maybe forward and back. And then we bend that knee and we just drop the foot back down. Just realign back to our seated position and let some of that movement settle in the hip. So for the other side, we lean into our left hand, we let that right knee come up, and then you just fish that right leg back. So I just work at extending it back, and then I'm gonna walk my hands forward as best as I can, create a little bit of fluid movement along the way. The more you extend the back leg, so my right leg, the deeper I go. And again, you can adjust by drawing your left knee to more midline to the mat if you're feeling pressure in your knee. How much movement can you get here? And I know if your hips and your groin is tight, that's a pretty big ask for you to move around, but see what it does. So always think about obstacles in the path of the river and how the water just builds up, right? It kind of pauses and it builds up around the obstacle until it then kind of finds its way around the obstacle. It doesn't stop, right? So in a way, that's what we're looking for when we feel these physical resistances and also mental resistances come up in our practice. And come back around to center. So you can start by bending that back knee, leaning into your left hand, and we pull that right leg all the way around. Tuck the right foot in, pull the left knee up. Catch the ball of the foot with your hands. Extend the leg. Now see if you can just maintain height by really lengthening through axial extension up through the spine. You can change to hold the back of the calf, that little bit of rocking perhaps. Brilliant. And then we drop that left foot, bring it back down. Come back to a tall spine if you can. Nicely done. Let's make our way onto our hands and our knees. You can do that any way that feels right in your body. As you come to hands and knees, just take a few moments to ensure that your wrists and your shoulders line up. Wrists underneath the shoulders. Let's do a little bit of moving around. So I want you to be as creative with this as possible. You can even close your eyes. Maybe your movement takes on the shape of figure eights. Maybe it's something completely different. And then just reverse your circles. And then I want us to bring our knees a little bit further up, our toes together. So we're basically sitting back towards the heels, but we're still forward in the hands. Take your left hand almost midline in between your knees. Let's breathe in and take the right arm all the way up to the sky. So we get some mobility in the thoracic spine, and then we bring it back down. Breathing in, breathing out. Arm goes up, back down. Let's do one more each side. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to turn around so you can see the side profile of this. So I'd like our hands to walk forward, so almost towards the end of the mat, just so there's an extension in your arms. And if you can widen your hands a little bit and get your triceps, which is your upper arm muscles, wrapping in. So that creates a deeper extension across the tops of your shoulders. Now take your tailbone to the sky and slowly draw your ribs towards the earth, like you're creating a ski slope. Continue to look between your thumbs until your neck says it's enough. And then you drop your head, you round your back like a wave coming to shore. Look between your thumbs again. Tailbone up, ribs down. And again. Now walk your knees back in and your hands back in. Let's widen the knees again, draw your big toes together. Sit your bum back on your heels. Take that left arm and just glide it under your chest. Go as far as your body will allow. Drop your left ear to the ground. Extend your right arm forward and press your right hand against the sticky mat so you create a little more extension and traction. Let's pull that left arm out and we'll go ahead and try the other side. Right arm threads underneath. And let's pull that arm back out. Realign yourself back, knees under hips, hands under shoulders. Let's curl the toes under, push into the arches of your feet and really get the tissue stretching. So it's like a yawn, a big yawn to your feet. From here, let's slowly pull up through the pelvic floor, hover your knees, and let's float into downward dog. So I want you to take some time in your downward dog just to kind of be in the architecture, wiggle around a little bit. One of the things that happens in downward dog is that our pelvis, if we're tight in the hamstrings, it gets pulled under and it jacks us into our shoulders, and we're not sure why anyone would want to do this. So my invitation for you is to soften your knees and to get your thighs pressing back and up. Let your head drop, and don't overly push your chest to the ground, but feel your belly float up. And feel those long, clean lines of downward dog, organizing your system. And my challenge to you, and please know you can come down and back up anytime you need to, is to start creating some movement in your spine. Maybe it's some rippling. So we just keep that thread of curiosity moving. Then float back down to your knees and let's drift back into child's pose. You can have arms out in front or beside you. Let's inhale and come back up to our hands and our knees. Go ahead and curl your toes under again, and I want you to walk your hands back to your knees. And then you push onto the soles of your feet. So we get this nice stretch and this weight-bearing activity in the feet. And you could challenge yourself here a little bit in your squat. How does that land in your body? So the weight bearing helps the joint mobility. And then let's drop our hands to our feet. Lengthen your legs, but keep your chest on your thighs. So that keeps the low back safe. See if you can widen your sitting bones out to the sides. Head drops. Now sink your hips nice and low. Keep your chest on your thighs so your back is nice and flat. Now use your strength. Push down and rise all the way to standing. I'm going to challenge you to not edit or fix your clothing or your hair or anything externally until you land with confidence in your form, in your own body, attuning to your own frequency and the shift in the transition that it's made within you. So we attune to that first, keeping our attention nice and close to our breath. And then we draw the palms together and we return home to the heart, hands to heart. A few more breaths, just giving us time to sink in, to being grounded. Back into feet, to pelvis, extension in the spine, the awareness of your pelvic floor, upper and lower teeth apart. I want you to feel the universe behind the backs of your eyes. And let your hands drop. So you can edit and fix anything that's come undone, anything that you need to. And let's go ahead and widen our feet at least mat distance apart. Let your knees soften. Let your arms swing from side to side. The more you can release the weight of your arms into gravity, the more release you receive in your thoracic spine. So let's do some side angle moving just to be in the sides of the body. So you're going to widen your feet even more and press to the outer edges of your feet. So you're not pronating in, but you're pressing the outer edges of your feet down and really toning through your thighs. You can feel the four corners of the pelvic floor float up and into your body and how that creates this energy up through the midline. Take a breath in, float your arms all the way out and up, and just let them cross in front of your body and feel your heart and your lungs breathe the arms up again. Back down. Now this time we come up, I want you to start to turn your left foot to the left. So I'm pivoting on my left heel. Sweep your arms all the way down and float your arms open out to the sides. So Virabhadrasana, 2. So I want you to anchor through the outer edge of your right foot. And then we're going to do a little bit of moving, staying with that fluid thread. So your right palm, I want you to start to pull it across your body like you were moving a little ball of light. Your left arm arcs over to the right. Then as you breathe in, you pull all the way open. Then exhale, press. So dynamic opposition again, right? Pressing and pulling. Inhale. And experiment a little bit with this, with your own form, how it feels in your own body. And then we take the arms back to center. Turn your left toes to face forward. Breathe the arms up. Arms cross, right foot turns into warrior 2 on the right side. And just make sure you're not reaching too far forward into the future or being pulled into your past. I want you to really find that yielding presence of the midline and the present. So we're right in between our legs, right dead line in the middle of us. Left hand presses, right hand reaches. Inhale, open. And exhale, reach. Inhale, open. Exhale, reach. And one more. Beautiful. Open your arms again. Turn your right toes back to center. Sweep your arms back down towards your pelvis, and then we reverse those circles up, out to the sides and down, and again, up, out to the sides and down. So to get into our upper backs, flow your arms to the left, flow your arms to the right. Now flow your arms to the left and reach up, back, and around. And one more, to the left, to the right, to the left, up, back, and around. Brilliant. And now just to the other side, to the right, to the left, to the right, up, back, and around, and to the right, to the left, to the right, up, back, and around. Nicely done. Your arms straight forward. Just soften your knees again so you're still buoyant in your hips. Wrap your left elbow underneath your right elbow for eagle arms again. You can turn your toes slightly out to the sides. So that buoyancy, that fluidity in your hips. Let's swing towards the right and reach up and slightly back. And let's pass through center, swing to the left, up, slightly back, to the right again, and to the left again. Back through center, free the arms, fly them out to the sides and all the way up. Let your palms just slowly float down the front line of your body. Let's drift the arms straight forward again. We just reverse. Right elbow underneath the left. Soften through the knees. Swing to the left. Reaching up and back. Pass through the center to the right, up and back. And to the left. Back to center again. Free the arms out and up. Palms just drift down the front line of the body, just steadying your energetic flow. Let's do that one more time. Out and up. And back down. So let's step our feet back together and we'll come to the top of the mat. I'm going to bring us back down to the ground. Just take a few moments to spread wide through your toes, through your feet, anchor down through your heels rather. Hands to your low back. Just be cautious not to push your pelvis forward, but you can anchor down. So you can point the fingers down and really anchor, solidify the groundedness in your sacrum. Draw up through your legs, up through your pelvic floor, and just very softly offer your heart towards the sky. We're not throwing back the neck. It's still nice and long and aligned. And then we'll pour forward. So just slide the hands down the backs of your legs, chest to your thighs. Let your hands drop. Let your head drop. Bend your right knee and walk your hands to the right and just pull back through your left hip. Wander the hands back through center, bend into your left knee. Walk your hands to the left, pull back through your right hip. Back through center. Step your feet back into downward dog. Let's take a little time to find your stance. And just breathe into those long, clean lines. Feel how your body has changed in the structure from the first time we came into it. Maybe have a look at your navel, let your head drop. And then let's drift back down to our knees, and we'll come around to seated. So just have a final twist for this practice. So you're gonna rock a little side to side, kick your legs straight out in front. We're gonna lean over into the left hand and bring our right foot across the left knee. So I'm gonna kind of give you the bones of this, and then I want you to really explore it on your own. I'll give you some suggestions and ideas, but try it on for yourself. Bend your left knee and pull that heel in towards your sitting bone. And then you can walk your right hand over towards your left and just see about moving around a little bit. I like the sensation of dipping and rounding. So you can imagine like cat and cow here. How about lengthening your left leg here and just feeling that extension on the side of the leg up into the waistband. You can even walk your left hand a little further forward, draw the rib cage down, and then maybe rise up, reach the arm, opposite arm out. Just see if you can make your body wave a little bit through dropping down and rising up. Bring that hand back over, bend your left knee, walk the hands back in, and you can try this on, see what you think. Drop your right knee and bring your hands over towards the right. Get a deeper stretch by extending that left arm far away. See about rolling that left shoulder up, rolling it back, and slowly walking the hands back in. Take a moment to extend your legs. And I'd love for you to settle yourself in Shavasana, wiggling the shoulder blades back under, collarbones nice and broad, jaw soft. Just go ahead and keep steeping in your final relaxation in your Shavasana. Feel how the ground rises to support your bones once again. And feel what has shifted within you, what has changed. Who are you now? How is your breath now? How is the frequency of energy within you? So our attention is like currency. And as part of our practice, we want to become very skilled about where we spend that energy, where we store it, how we retain it, how we build up our reserves. And when we take the time to get to the mat or to the meditation cushion, or to press pen to paper, or to walk in nature, we're filling our reserves, we're filling up the tanks. And in order for us to serve in the world, to serve the people we love, and extend beyond that, we need to be full. We need that to be a priority. I'm hoping in these practices you can find that place to fill and to settle and to ask important questions and to just be open to receive the answers when in time they do come. As you feel ready, you can ease your way onto your right side and roll your way up to seated. And take a few moments as you come to seated to really settle back into that form, to get as tall as you can within, to feel the softness of your shoulders, the openness of your own heart. That new level of clarity behind your eyes. And drawing your palms together. And please know it's a joy to meet you here and to share in the evolution of your practice. I hope that you are well. Namaste.